One weekend night, Lisa was happily chatting with her best friend, completely unaware that a man behind her was watching every move she made. But Lisa remained completely oblivious, even leaving the bar alone after getting drunk, never realizing she was about to pay a terrible price for it. Before long, a private car suddenly blocked Lisa's path, and the driver was none other than Kate, the man who had secretly been watching her moments earlier. With a warm smile, he told her that walking home alone so late at night was dangerous, and offered to give her a ride since he was heading the same way. Mesmerized by his handsome appearance and charming personality, Lisa immediately lowered her guard. Without hesitation, she opened the car door and got inside. During the drive, the two chatted happily, and the atmosphere inside the car slowly became more intimate. Before she realized it, Lisa had started developing feelings for this attractive stranger. She even secretly thought that if something happened between them tonight, she wouldn't mind at all. But while Lisa was lost in her own thoughts, the car had already left the main road and turned onto a dark, deserted path. As the surroundings became quieter and more unsettling, a strange sense of fear suddenly crept into Lisa's heart. She quickly asked Kate where he was taking her. When she learned they were heading to his luxurious villa, Lisa completely relaxed and let go of her remaining doubts. Soon, the car passed through a tall iron gate and stopped in front of a private mansion. Lisa knew exactly what might happen next, yet she still stepped out of the car without any hesitation. She followed Kate inside the villa, unaware that the real danger was about to begin. After the long journey, Lisa suggested going to the bathroom first to freshen up and fix her makeup, but she had no idea she had just given Kate the perfect opportunity to make his move. The moment Lisa entered the bathroom, Kate turned around and took out 2 wine glasses. With a strange expression on his face, he quietly dropped a mysterious liquid into one of the glasses. When Lisa came back, Kate calmly handed her the glass of wine that had been secretly drugged. Completely unaware of the danger, Lisa took the glass and drank it without hesitation, but shortly after finishing the wine, she suddenly began feeling dizzy and disoriented. Her vision became blurry, her body started shaking uncontrollably, and her legs grew so weak that she could barely stand. The innocent Lisa simply assumed she was just drunk and tired, believing that a short rest would make her feel better. However, when she finally woke up again, she was instantly overwhelmed by fear. Her entire body turned cold as she realized something was terribly wrong. The clothes she was wearing had been replaced with a set of old, worn-out clothing. Panicked, Lisa quickly checked herself and immediately understood what had happened while she was unconscious. She looked around in horror and discovered that she was trapped inside a completely sealed underground room with no way out. A severe headache swept through her body, but she forced herself to stay awake and survive. She splashed cold water onto her face repeatedly, trying to regain her focus. Then she stumbled toward the metal door and began pounding on it, screaming desperately for help. No matter how loudly she cried out or how hard she hit the door, there was no response from outside. Her cries were met with nothing but silence. Overwhelmed by absolute despair, Lisa collapsed to the floor and curled herself up helplessly. She had no idea how she could escape from this terrifying prison. After a long period of silence, Lisa finally forced herself to calm down. She knew that if she wanted to survive, she had to stop waiting and find a way to save herself. Once she regained her composure, she carefully searched every corner of the room. After a thorough inspection, she finally found a small metal nail hidden beneath the mattress. It was the only tool she had, and perhaps her only chance to escape. Lisa wasted no time and immediately tried using the metal piece to pry open the door, but the steel door was far too strong. No matter how much strength she used, it remained completely unmoved. Just then, heavy footsteps suddenly echoed outside the room, slowly getting closer. It was Kate. The monster had returned. Lisa quickly fixed the messy bed and hid the metal nail back beneath the mattress. Holding her breath, she waited in terror for him to enter. Kate opened the basement door exactly as she expected. He had heard Lisa's desperate screams earlier, and this time he came back only to threaten her. He warned Lisa that if she shouted again, he would kill her without hesitation. But just as he finished speaking, the alarm device on Kate's body suddenly went off. With no choice, Kate quickly left the basement. Kate had installed surveillance cameras throughout every corner of the house, leaving nowhere for Lisa to hide. At that moment, someone appeared outside the gate, but their face was impossible to see clearly. The person seemed to be trying to lure the homeowner outside and honked the car horn repeatedly. Hearing the sound, Lisa immediately rushed toward the metal door, desperately pounding on it and screaming for help. The moment Kate heard the noise, he quickly entered another room and opened the valve of a gas tank. Toxic gas began flowing through the pipes and slowly filled the basement. Within seconds, Lisa started feeling dizzy and weak, losing control of her body. Before long, she collapsed unconscious on the floor. After calculating that the gas had taken full effect, Kate turned off the valve and left the room. Only after stepping outside did he discover that the visitors were actually two undercover police officers. The officers told Kate that Lisa's husband had already reported her missing. After checking the surveillance footage from the restaurant, police had tracked Lisa's last known movements and identified Kate. But Kate calmly made up a false story to mislead them. He claimed that when he left the restaurant that night, Lisa was still there, and he knew nothing about her disappearance afterward. The officers carefully inspected Kate's vehicle but found no suspicious evidence. With no other leads, they had no choice but to leave. After Lisa regained consciousness, she immediately pulled out the metal piece hidden under the mattress and tried again to pry open the steel door. She struggled for a long time, but the heavy metal door remained firmly locked. Refusing to give up, Lisa continued searching through the basement, hoping to find a better escape tool. Eventually, she grabbed a metal basin from the floor. Its thin, sharp edge could easily fit into the gap of the door, making it much more effective for prying. Using this improvised tool, Lisa finally managed to force the door open and escape from the basement. She immediately ran upstairs. Kate never expected her to break free, so he had not prepared any additional barriers inside the house. Lisa successfully escaped from Kate's villa. Although the main gate of the yard was locked, the wall surrounding the property was not too high, giving her a chance to climb over. But just as she was escaping over the wall, Kate returned and spotted her. Lisa ran as fast as she could, relying on her agility to create distance between them. Even though Kate chased after her on an ATV, he couldn't catch up with her right away. Hearing the engine getting closer and closer behind her, Lisa quickly turned and ran into a nearby forest, but she never expected the woods to be so small. After passing through the trees, she immediately reached an open highway. Kate knew the area extremely well. Instead of chasing on foot, he stayed in his vehicle and continued following her from a distance. When Lisa reached a rough, uneven road, she thought she had finally escaped. But what she didn't expect was that Kate's speed on foot was far beyond imagination. He quickly caught up with her. Panicking, Lisa reached the end of a bridge and decided not to continue along the road. Instead, she searched for a hidden place where she could disappear completely. When she spotted a cave nearby, she immediately rushed inside without hesitation. Kate searched through the cave several times but still couldn't find Lisa. Only after confirming that he had left did Lisa slowly emerge from her hiding place. But in the next second, Kate suddenly appeared behind her. On the third day of her captivity, the usually cruel and emotionless Kate suddenly changed his attitude. He gave Lisa a gift and asked her to put on the clothes he brought. He even prepared a romantic candlelight dinner, treating her like a lover. Kate opened up about his feelings and personal past. He admitted that he had spent years trapped in loneliness and isolation. Lisa quietly listened to his story. On the surface, she acted gentle, caring, and completely cooperative. But deep inside, she remained calm, constantly searching for another chance to escape. By pretending to be obedient and harmless, Lisa successfully lowered Kate's guard. While he was distracted, she secretly hid a sharp metal fork. Then she moved closer to Kate, pretending to show affection and intimacy. Unfortunately, her plan failed. Enraged by her betrayal, Kate used a thick chain to tightly restrain Lisa in the basement. He also installed a new lock on the metal door, making sure she could never escape again. Just then, the alarm on Kate's body went off once more. This time, the visitor was not the police, but a mysterious woman. The woman was named Tina. She looked nervous and suspicious, as if she was hiding something. Just as the two were about to interact, Tina's phone suddenly rang. She immediately signaled Kate to stay quiet and walked into the bathroom to answer the call. From the conversation, it became clear that Tina was already married and was also the mother of 2 children. That was why she had been acting so carefully and secretly. The sound of her phone call traveled clearly down into the basement. Hearing this, Lisa immediately began shouting for help. But when Tina walked out of the bathroom, she ran directly into Kate. Instead of being frightened, Tina looked excited and pleased. Through their conversation, the truth was finally revealed. The person behind Lisa's kidnapping and imprisonment was none other than Tina. The hatred between Tina and Lisa started back in college. At the time, Lisa had repeatedly bullied the weak and vulnerable Tina. Years of emotional trauma turned into deep resentment, pushing Tina to seek revenge. Now, she had manipulated the lovesick Kate into helping her carry out her revenge. Tina demanded that Kate kill Lisa and finally end their long-standing hatred, but Kate immediately refused, showing clear dissatisfaction. Instead, he kept asking when Tina would finally fulfill her promise and marry him. After being questioned repeatedly, Tina became angry. Kate felt hurt and began crying, insisting that his love for her was pure and genuine. Seeing that Tina was determined to leave, Kate finally gave in. He agreed to help her finish her revenge. Tina comforted him, telling him to be patient. She promised that after divorcing her husband, she would spend every day with him. At that moment, Tina's phone rang again. This time, it was her children calling and asking her to come home. Feeling sympathetic, Kate allowed Tina to leave. After she was gone, Kate stayed alone, drinking to calm himself and build up his courage. Holding a fruit knife, he slowly walked toward the basement. The moment Lisa saw him, she realized Kate had already made up his mind to kill her. Desperate to survive, she abandoned all dignity and fell to her knees. Overwhelmed by fear, Lisa completely broke down. She crawled toward Kate's feet, desperately begging for mercy. She begged him again and again to spare her life, but as Kate looked at Lisa's desperate attempt to survive, his expression remained cold and emotionless. His killing intent was still terrifying, and he had no intention of letting her go. Completely consumed by despair, Lisa grabbed tightly onto Kate's pants and refused to let go. With trembling hands, she respectfully handed him the belt. Using the last bit of strength she had left, she made a desperate promise. She told him that if he spared her life, she would obey him for the rest of her life. She promised never to resist, never to escape, and never to disobey him again. This extreme act of submission and desperation finally made the cold-blooded Kate hesitate for the first time. In the end, Kate threw away the knife and accepted Lisa's promise. For the first time, he decided to give her a chance to live. Kate was left with a deep emptiness afterward. He knew that Lisa's obedience and gentleness could never replace Tina's place in his heart. Just then, Tina sent him a photo. The woman in the picture was Gina, another girl who had bullied Tina together with Lisa back in college. Although Kate had refused to kill Lisa as Tina wanted, he still decided to help Tina get rid of her former tormentor, Gina. The next day, Kate quietly arrived at a lakeside area. While Gina was enjoying herself in the water, he secretly let the air out of her car tires. Completely unaware of what had happened, Gina continued swimming and enjoying her day. After she finished and changed into dry clothes, she got into her car and prepared to drive home. She had no idea that a vehicle behind her was already following closely. As she drove, Gina quickly noticed something was wrong. The car began shaking violently, forcing her to pull over and check what happened. Only then did she realize the tires were completely flat and the car could no longer move. At that moment, Kate pulled his vehicle over beside her. He stepped out and politely asked if she needed any help. Gina honestly explained that her tire had gone flat and the car had broken down. Kate immediately acted like a kind stranger who had just happened to pass by. He walked over and offered to inspect the vehicle for her. While Gina wasn't paying attention, he quietly threw her phone out of the car. Then he lied, telling her the damage was serious and the vehicle needed to be taken to a repair shop. Gina wanted to call roadside assistance for help, but after searching through the entire car, she realized her phone was missing. She simply assumed she had lost it while swimming and never suspected Kate at all. Taking advantage of the situation, Kate kindly offered to drive her into town. Completely unaware of the danger, Gina trusted him and got into his car, but as the vehicle continued moving, she slowly began noticing something unusual. This road was not leading toward the city at all. The surroundings became more and more remote, empty, and dangerous. A strong sense of fear suddenly overwhelmed Gina. Realizing something was wrong, she quickly came up with a plan. She pretended she needed to get out and use the bathroom, hoping to find a chance to escape. But in the end, Gina was taken back to Kate's villa and imprisoned. She became Lisa's new neighbor, locked inside the room next door. After settling Gina in, Kate returned to Lisa's room. He had no intention of killing Lisa immediately, because among all the women he had imprisoned, Lisa was the one who had been the most obedient and cooperative. Kate believed he had completely broken her and gained control over her, but he had no idea that Lisa's obedience was nothing more than an act. While staying close to him, Lisa secretly stole one of Kate's keys. After Kate left the room feeling satisfied, Lisa immediately rushed to the door and tried to unlock it, but to her disappointment, the key did not belong to her room. Meanwhile, Kate drove his ATV into town to buy supplies. After finishing his shopping and walking downstairs, he unexpectedly ran into Tina. At that moment, Tina was shopping with her husband and children. They looked like a happy family, laughing and enjoying their time together. There was no sign that she planned to divorce him or leave everything behind for Kate. At that moment, Kate finally realized the truth. From beginning to end, he had only been used by Tina. At the same time, Gina slowly regained consciousness in the basement. Lisa immediately began communicating with her through the wall. When Gina learned the truth about being kidnapped and imprisoned, she completely broke down and started crying. After Gina calmed down, Lisa told her that the key she stole would most likely open her cell door. The two women agreed that they had to escape together before Kate returned. Lisa wasted no time. She passed the key through a small hole in the wall and gave it to Gina. She told her to unlock the door first, escape, and contact the police for help. With Lisa's help, Gina successfully escaped from the nightmare. Luckily, shortly after escaping, she ran into police officers who were investigating a missing girl case. Meanwhile, while driving back home, Kate discovered that he had lost one of his keys, but he did not panic or turn back to search for it. He already knew that Gina had most likely escaped and contacted the police. His crimes were about to be exposed, and everything was already beyond saving. More importantly, he had completely lost the motivation to continue living this way. All the crimes he committed and all the terrible things he had done, even when guilt tortured him, he kept going because of one belief that someday he could be with Tina. But after discovering that he had been completely manipulated and deceived, Kate fell into complete confusion and despair. Yet even then, he still refused to hate Tina. To prevent Tina from being involved in the case, Kate returned home and immediately deleted all contact with her. Then he went to the basement and finally told Lisa the real reason behind all his kidnappings and imprisonments. After learning about Kate's obsession with Tina and his tragic situation, combined with her own unhappy marriage, Lisa unexpectedly felt a strange sense of sympathy and even a small amount of affection toward this monster. She actually offered to leave everything behind and escape with Kate, but Kate locked Lisa's hands with chains once again. It was not because he no longer trusted her. Instead, he was drowning in guilt, heartbreak, and complete hopelessness. He had already lost the will to keep living. After drinking to gather his courage, Kate took out the hunting rifle from his house. Unable to find the courage to take his own life directly, he removed all the bullets from the gun. Then he walked outside carrying the empty rifle, heading straight toward the arriving police officers. He deliberately pretended to raise the gun and attack them. The officers, unaware of the truth, immediately aimed their weapons and pulled the trigger. With a single gunshot, Kate's tragic and twisted life finally came to an end. The police then entered the basement and successfully rescued Lisa, who had been imprisoned for so long. But even after regaining her freedom and seeing the light again, Lisa could not feel any happiness. After witnessing Kate's death with her own eyes, her mind went completely blank. The next moment, everything went dark, and she collapsed unconscious. When Lisa woke up again, she was already lying in a hospital bed. Gina, who had escaped safely, came to the hospital to visit Lisa. After experiencing a life and death ordeal together, the two women finally let go of their past hatred. Gina sincerely thanked Lisa for helping her in the darkest moment and fighting alongside her for survival. It was their mutual redemption that allowed both women to finally break free from the devil's cage. At that moment, a nurse informed Lisa that she was pregnant. Gina tried to convince Lisa to end the pregnancy and completely leave this painful past behind, but Lisa refused without hesitation. She decided to keep the child. No one ever expected that the reason Kate became a monster and turned completely violent was not because evil was naturally in his blood, but because he had been controlled by a woman. Tina was the true hidden villain behind the entire tragedy. On the surface, Kate was a kidnapper and a cruel murderer with blood on his hands, but deep down, he was simply a man completely controlled by his obsession with love. Every terrible thing he did seemed violent and insane, but in reality, it was all done to gain Tina's approval. He was never committing crimes just for the sake of hurting others. He was risking everything because of his desperate desire to be loved. Meanwhile, Tina, who appeared weak and innocent, was actually the true mastermind behind everything. She used Kate's desperate devotion and turned him into a weapon for her revenge. And Lisa, the main character, was not completely an innocent victim either. When she was younger, she had also bullied others and planted the seeds of hatred. The three central characters in the film all appeared to be victims of tragedy, but deep inside, each of them carried their own darkness and mistakes that could never be erased. After watching the movie, many viewers may wonder, who is the real villain? But in reality, many tragedies are never caused by just one bad person. They are created by countless human flaws building upon each other. A little vanity, a little hatred, a little desire for control, a little selfishness. Each weakness may seem insignificant on its own, but once they become intertwined, they can create a disaster that no one can stop. The basement in this film was never just a place used to imprison bodies. It was also a symbol of human nature itself. When someone becomes trapped by desire, hatred, and obsession, everyone carries a hidden basement deep inside their heart, a place where darkness never sees the light.